Welcome to Windsor Chronicles, where we explore the heart of Britain's royal family, their triumphs, their trials, and the shifting tides of power behind the palace gates. Today, we turn to a story that has stunned even the most seasoned royal watchers. A decision so historic, so unprecedented, that it changes the very structure of the modern monarchy. Prince Andrew is no longer a prince. Buckingham Palace has confirmed that the king's younger brother has been stripped of all royal titles and honours. He will no longer be known as His Royal Highness, the Duke of York. From this moment forward, he is simply Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. But this fall from grace doesn't end with him. It ripples outward, touching Sarah Ferguson and the Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, and leaves many asking, what now becomes of the Duke's family? It was a Thursday evening when Buckingham Palace released the statement. Short, cold, and devastatingly final. His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles and honours of Prince Andrew, the palace said. Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. And with that, a royal chapter closed. For months, speculation had swirled around what King Charles III would do about his brother. Now, the axe had fallen. Alongside the loss of his titles came another decisive move. Eviction from his Windsor home, Royal Lodge, the mansion he had held for decades. The palace confirmed. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease. Andrew will move to alternative private accommodation. His Royal Highness, no more. His residence, gone. Even the palace's language was unusually stark. These censures are deemed necessary, it read, notwithstanding that he continues to deny the allegations against him. And pointedly, their Majesties added, their thoughts and utmost sympathies remain with the victims and survivors of all forms of abuse. Royal historian Kelly Swaby called the statement brutal. She told the BBC, ordinary people don't care about semantics. They want to see punishment, and public opinion is very much against Andrew. The palace knows that. The language reflects it. Behind closed doors, it's understood that the decision came after discussions with senior royals and even government consultation. Former BBC royal correspondent Jenny Bond went further. I think this line had to be drawn, she said, and William was probably pushing for the king to do so. After all, the Prince of Wales is about to embark on a major diplomatic tour to Brazil. The King and Queen's own trip to the Vatican was already overshadowed by Andrew's ongoing scandal. The royal family could no longer afford to carry his burden. So, where will Andrew go now? The palace confirmed that he will be relocated to the Sandringham estate in Norfolk, a quieter, more remote royal property spanning 20,000 acres. But exactly which house he'll live in remains unclear. Wood Farm, once Prince Philip's peaceful retreat, is said not to be the choice. Royal aides say Andrew's move will take place as soon as practicable. His accommodation will be privately funded by the king, who will also make appropriate private provision for his brother. It's a soft landing, but still a dramatic fall. Last year, the king reportedly cut off Andrew's funding entirely, part of a strategy to nudge him away from the royal fold. Since stepping back from public life, Andrew has sought his own income through international business contacts, including ventures with China and the Gulf states. But many of those deals have since evaporated. Now he finds himself, at 65 years old, a royal without rank and a man without a home. As Andrew's titles vanish, so too does the title long associated with his former wife. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, known affectionately as Fergie, has also lost her courtesy title. In early October, when Andrew lost the use of Duke of York, Sarah automatically reverted to her maiden name, simply Sarah Ferguson. Royal commentators note the change is more than symbolic. As Richard Palmer told the BBC, she will have lost a bit of cash. It's understood Sarah will leave Royal Lodge too, making her own independent living arrangements. At 66, she faces a new chapter, outside the orbit of royal privilege, yet still a figure the public associates with resilience and scandal in equal measure. Then come the daughters, Princess Beatrice, now 37, and Princess Eugenie, 35. Unlike their parents, their titles remain untouched. By royal decree dating back to 1917, as daughters of a son of a sovereign, they are entitled to remain princesses of the United Kingdom. Their places in the line of succession also remain. Andrew at 8th, Beatrice 9th, and Eugenie 12th. But as commentator Victoria Murphy reminds us, they're low down the line and unlikely to take on official duties. The palace understands this scandal doesn't involve them, and it's not fair for it to define their independent lives. Beatrice and Eugenie are now carving paths of their own, private citizens with careers and families, living away from the royal glare. Still, the shadow of their father's disgrace is one they can never fully escape. For historians, the mechanics of this moment are significant. The titles removed include Prince Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, Baron Killyleagh, and the right to be addressed as His Royal Highness, gone. Even his knighthoods, the Order of the Garter and the Knight Grand Cross of the Victorian Order, have been rescinded. To formalise this, the King will issue royal warrants through the Lord Chancellor, officially erasing Andrew's style and status from the annals of royal record. His birth certificate, however, will remain unchanged, a symbolic reminder of what once was. Soft pause, music swells briefly. This marks one of the most decisive disciplinary actions by a reigning monarch against a sibling in modern royal history. Many have asked, why Mountbatten-Windsor? The name dates back to 1960, a blend of Queen Elizabeth II's House of Windsor and Prince Philip's Mountbatten line. Itself an anglicised form of Battenberg, changed during World War I to avoid anti-German sentiment. The double-barrelled name was a concession to Prince Philip, ensuring that his children and descendants would carry his family name too. Now it becomes Andrew's surname, stripped of grandeur, yet carrying the weight of centuries of royal lineage. What happens next? According to historians, Andrew will remain frozen out of royal public life. He's not invited to official engagements and will likely only appear at family funerals or private memorials. Historian Andrew Loney observed, "The palace is finally taking decisive action, but it won't completely satisfy public disquiet. For many, this is too little, too late." Campaigners argue that this isn't simply a family matter. Republic's chief executive Graham Smith said, "This isn't just about family. It's not a private issue. There must be transparency about what the royal family knew." And so, even as Buckingham Palace closes one chapter, another begins. It all leads back to the man whose shadow haunts this story, Jeffrey Epstein. Emails, reports, and resurfaced photographs reignited questions about Andrew's contact with the disgraced financier, long after their friendship was said to have ended. Virginia Giuffre's allegations, though denied, continue to hover over him. And even after his settlement in the US civil case, the damage to his reputation has proved irreversible. Once hailed as the Queen's favourite son, Andrew is now, in every public sense, an exile, a man reduced to a surname, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, a name that tells of royalty, history, and now ruin. For Sarah Ferguson, it's the end of a long chapter as Duchess. For Beatrice and Eugenie, it's a reminder that privilege and scandal are two sides of the same royal coin. And for King Charles, this was an act of duty, painful, necessary, and symbolic of the new monarchy he's building, one that prioritises accountability over tradition and public trust over private loyalty. But perhaps the most haunting question of all remains: can the House of Windsor ever truly separate itself from the ghosts of its own making? This has been Windsor Chronicles. I'm your host, and we'll be back soon with more stories from behind the palace gates.